The laughter was quiet at first, hidden behind polite smiles and crystal glasses, but Aaliyah Carter felt it like sharp needles under her skin. In the grand ballroom filled with chandeliers and million-dollar gowns, she stood alone, a 16-year-old black girl in a sea of cold stares, knowing that no matter how rich her father was, no matter how powerful his name had become, to them she would always be out of place. The night that was meant to celebrate her life became the night that nearly broke her spirit, and the night she finally rose. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for what is right, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories like this to life. Aaliyah was the only daughter of Marcus Carter, a self-made billionaire who had risen from poverty to build one of the largest technology empires in the country. He was respected in boardrooms and feared by competitors, but inside their home, he was simply a gentle father who still remembered what it felt like to be poor, overlooked, and underestimated. After the tragic death of Aaliyah's mother years earlier, Marcus had devoted himself to his daughter completely. He gave her the best education, the finest tutors, and every opportunity money could buy. Yet there was one thing he could not protect her from: the silent cruelty of people who judged her for her skin before they ever knew her heart. At her elite private school, Aaliyah was often the only black student in the room. Teachers praised her intelligence, but classmates whispered that she was only there because of her father's money. At charity galas, she overheard women assume she was an assistant, not the host's daughter. Every smile felt fake, every compliment sounded forced. Over time, these moments piled up quietly, like heavy stones on her chest. She learned to lower her eyes, to speak softly, to make herself small so she wouldn't attract attention. The night of the annual Carter Foundation Gala was supposed to be different. It was her birthday, and for once, Marcus wanted the world to see not just his success, but his pride in his daughter. The ballroom glittered with wealth and power. Politicians, celebrities, and corporate giants filled the room. Aaliyah wore a simple blue gown that her mother would have loved. She hoped, just for one night, to feel normal. But even before dinner was served, the whispers began. Some guests stared at her hair with thinly veiled curiosity. Others smiled stiffly, their eyes flicking to her father and back to her, as if trying to solve a puzzle. A group of wealthy teenagers near the stage laughed quietly, casting glances in her direction. Aaliyah tried to ignore it, focusing on the music, on the familiar warmth of her father's presence nearby. But then it happened, the moment that cut deeper than all the others. One of the senior attendants, a woman named Eleanor, who had worked elite events for decades, approached Aaliyah with a forced smile and an icy tone. Without asking, she handed Aaliyah an empty glass and gestured toward the bar, assuming she was part of the staff. Several guests nearby snickered. The wealthy teenagers covered their mouths, amused. Aaliyah froze. Her face burned. In that instant, years of quiet humiliation crashed over her all at once. She wanted to speak, to correct the woman, but her voice felt trapped in her throat. Instead, she took a step back, holding the glass with shaking hands, feeling smaller than she ever had in her life. Eleanor did not apologize. Instead, she frowned, annoyed by Aaliyah's hesitation, and repeated the gesture more sharply. The laughter around them grew louder. Aaliyah looked across the room and saw her father deep in conversation, unaware of what was happening. She realized painfully that no matter how powerful he was, in that moment, she was alone. For years, she had stayed silent. She had told herself that ignoring cruelty was the mature thing to do, that rising above meant pretending not to feel pain. But standing there in the glittering ballroom, holding an empty glass while strangers laughed at her, something inside her finally cracked. This was not just about one mistake. It was about every look that said she didn't belong, every whisper that said she wasn't enough. Every time she swallowed her pride to keep the peace, her hands stopped shaking. Slowly, Aaliyah lifted her head. The room did not change at first. Music still played, glasses still clinked. But something in her posture shifted. For the first time, she did not try to disappear. She took a steady breath and spoke, her voice calm but clear enough to cut through the nearby chatter. She said that she was not staff, that she was Marcus Carter's daughter, and that being rich did not make her immune to disrespect, but it also did not make her invisible. The laughter died instantly. Conversations around them faltered as people began to listen. Aaliyah continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. She said that all night she had been treated like she did not belong in a room built by her father's generosity. She spoke of how painful it was to be judged before being known. She spoke not with anger, but with quiet dignity that made her words impossible to ignore. Eleanor's face drained of color. The wealthy teenagers fell silent, their expressions shifting from amusement to discomfort. By now the attention of the room had turned toward them. Marcus noticed the sudden change in atmosphere and looked over, immediately sensing that something was wrong. He moved closer, concern in his eyes, but he stopped when he saw the strength in his daughter's face. This was her moment. Aaliyah spoke of her mother, of the values she had been raised with: respect, humility, kindness. She said that wealth meant nothing if it was not matched with humanity. She reminded them that the foundation they were celebrating existed to fight inequality, not quietly practice it in the same room. Her voice never shook. The ballroom was completely silent. Marcus felt a swell of emotions he had never known before: pride, sorrow, admiration, all tangled together. He realized that while he had built an empire, his daughter was building something even greater within herself. When Aaliyah finished, she did not wait for applause. She simply handed the empty glass back to Eleanor and walked calmly to her father's side. For a moment, no one moved. Then something unexpected happened. One woman near the front began to clap slowly. Another joined. Soon the applause spread through the room, not loud and triumphant, but steady and sincere. It was the sound of people recognizing a truth they had been too comfortable to face. Eleanor stepped forward, her voice trembling as she apologized publicly. She admitted her assumption and her mistake. The wealthy teenagers looked down, embarrassed. Several guests approached Aaliyah to express their respect, not out of obligation, but genuine admiration. That night did not erase all the prejudice in the world, but it changed something powerful. For the first time, Aaliyah did not feel like a guest in her own life. In the weeks that followed, the story spread beyond the gala. Media outlets praised her courage. Schools invited her to speak. Young people from all backgrounds wrote to her, saying her words had given them strength to stand up for themselves. Marcus watched his daughter transform. She no longer hid behind quiet politeness. She walked with confidence, not because she was a billionaire's daughter, but because she had found her own voice. He realized then that true success was not measured by money or influence, but by the courage to speak when silence is easier. Aaliyah still faced challenges. The world did not change overnight, but she had changed, and that made all the difference. She learned that dignity is not something others give you, it is something you claim. And in that glittering ballroom, on a night that nearly broke her, she had finally claimed it. If this story moved you, please take a moment right now to comment below and share your thoughts. Your voice matters more than you know. Near the end of her speech tours, Aaliyah often said that standing up for yourself is not about winning an argument. It is about refusing to let the world define your worth. She said that when you speak with truth and calm strength, even the loudest cruelty grows quiet. Years later, people still remembered the night a young girl stood in a room full of power and taught them what real power looks like. And if this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind us of the strength inside ordinary people. Because sometimes, the smallest voice in the room carries the greatest truth.